I want to acknowledge some of the fans from actually throughout the world. First of all, from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I think one of these tables over here, members of the Hart family. Two Hart. I think Diana was here earlier. Likewise, thank you for joining us. Well, the next honor of the evening is kind of my bag because this guy really was one of the leaders for me. Lance Russell is the 2016 Announcer Award for CAC. And to bring him up, by the way, I want to point out one of the previous winners, my very dear, close personal, longtime friend, Bill Kirsten. That was back in 2012, so this has been kind of a short road. But in the meantime, let me bring him up. A guy that I worked with in the trenches. He's one of a kind. Out of Memphis, Tennessee, Jerry the King Lawler.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. What was that now? You know, it's really an honor, as JBL said, to look out over this illustrious audience and see all of the magnificent wrestling talent that is kind of found their way into the same room. I have the honor of hosting the WWE Hall of Fame for the past 2 years, and I don't know if there's, I don't know if there's, even at that, if there's as much wrestling talent assembled at one time as we have here tonight. And so I'm up here for the Announcer Award, and you know we have a lot of great announcers on hand tonight, and I just want to recognize them and everybody give them a round of applause. First, Pepper Martin is here tonight. And of course, the voice of Monday Night Raw, JBL, over there. Almost everybody's all-time favorite right here, Mean Gene Okerlund. And I understand out here somewhere, my hero, Bobby the Brain Heenan. He still thinks I'm number one, right, Bobby? And of course, the guy that I had the pleasure of working with for many, many years, good old JR right there. And in mentioning JR, it's like if I had a dime for every time someone comes up to me and says, you and JR were the voice of my childhood. I grew up listening to you and good old JR every Monday night on WWE Raw. It's just, it's just something that is out there. So many millions of fans that tune in every week to watch wrestling and hear the voice of the announcers. And that, that phrase when people say, gosh, I grew up listening to you, you were the voice of my childhood. Every time I hear that, not only does it make me feel old, but every time I hear that, it makes me think about the voice of my childhood. The voice that I heard every Saturday morning when I turned on my television set in Memphis, Tennessee, when I was just a kid growing up. And I realized that, that voice was, probably the most important part of that Saturday morning wrestling show. The wrestlers would come and go, different talent, they would be there, and you had your favorite stars and everything. But that one constant was the voice that you listened to that told you how great these wrestlers were. They explained to you how these wrestlers felt and the pain and the agony that they were going through in these matches. And that voice for me was Lance Russell. And now a lot of times when somebody comes up to induct somebody in the Hall of Fame, they'll talk about, as JBL did with James Beard, you'll talk about, your experiences with that you had over the years with this individual. and how you work together and all of that sort of stuff. And that all happened with Lance and I. But I can honestly say about Lance Russell that if it were not for Lance Russell, there would not be a Jerry the King Lawler. I would never be here today in this business if it were not for Lance Russell. Because I was just a kid, majored in art, Treadwell High School, and one morning I just got the wild idea to draw some pictures, some caricatures of the wrestlers that I watched on TV every Saturday. And I thought, well, I'll send them into the TV station. And I don't even know why I thought that, it's just what I expected. But I put together 4 or 5 drawings of Jackie Fargo and Tojo Yamamoto and the big stars of Memphis Wrestling. Drew caricatures of them, put them in an envelope, and I put Lance Russell, WHBQ Television, 485 South Island, Memphis, Tennessee, and I sent them off in the mail. And the next Saturday morning, I turned on the TV at 11 o'clock, and there was Lance Russell and Dave Brown sitting at their desk, as they always were every Saturday morning, welcoming you to studio wrestling. And I looked over, and on their desk, the corner of the desk, was my pictures. My artwork was sitting on that desk. And I almost passed out. I thought, oh my gosh, they're going to show my drawings. And sure enough, about halfway through the show, they had at that time, our local wrestling company, it wasn't a very big budget. They didn't have the money to send out a camera crew and film highlights of the past Monday night action. They just had Lance and Dave, 2 talking heads there to tell you and explain to you what took place. Jackie Fargo beat Tojo Yamamoto in a 20-minute match, and they would talk about that. Well, on this Saturday morning, Lance comes on. He said, well, we're going to tell you about what happened at the matches last Monday night. And we have some artwork from a young fan out there to kind of illustrate what happened. Tojo Yamamoto, as you can see, got beat by Jackie Fargo. And there's a picture of Jackie drop kicking Tojo. And so anyway, he showed my artwork, and I was just beaming, and I was so proud they're home. And then when the show was over, my phone rang, and the voice on the other end of it was unmistakable. It was Lance Russell calling me on the telephone, and he told me how much they liked my drawings, and they wanted me to do some more the following week. And from that moment on, I became like a courtroom reporter. I became the ringside artist for Championship Wrestling there in Memphis, Tennessee. And I'd send in the drawings. I did drawings every week for maybe 5 or 6 weeks. And then I got another call from Lance, and he said, hey, everybody likes your drawings. Everybody's talking about, why don't you come over and actually be on the show? Now I really went nuts. So that next Saturday morning, I got to actually go over, be on the show, meet the wrestlers like Jackie Fargo, Tojo Yamamoto, and that, not to make a long story, too late to make a long story short, but anyway, that's how I got my foot in the door. And without Lance Russell inviting me, showing my artwork, and inviting me to that TV station to be on that show, I would certainly not be here today. So I owe everything that I've ever accomplished in this business to this man that I want to bring up here right now, the unmistakable voice of my childhood and of many, many more, and to me, the greatest wrestling announcer that I've ever heard, Mr. Lance Russell.
I want to say that's a long walk right there, but it's gonna get a little longer by the time I get to be 100. And I got that's my next milestone coming up. Hit 90 the other day, and I just got to first tell you that there's nobody in the world that came to my mind when they asked me about, is there somebody in particular you would like to have induct you into this honor? And I said without one question, Jerry Lawler. I don't know that I'll have the opportunity to be able to have Jerry there, but it was the first thing that went through my mind naturally, because Jerry has not only been, and I think most of you would agree with this, an outstanding wrestler. He has great talent, he's a smart guy upstairs, and comes up with a lot of great things that make us great. And there's nothing like what I have seen Jerry Lawler is able to put it all together, and I appreciate it very much, Jerry, because when you have a friend like you just feel treasured for a long, long time. I also want to thank the CA, the Cauliflower Alley Club, for their honor in inviting me here, and I am just absolutely so proud. And I've got my whole family here. I got my boys, 2 boys and a girl that I brought here from over in our part of the country, and we wouldn't have missed this for anything in the world. It is a very, very humbling experience for you to, when we got called by Brian about coming to accept the award and so on, I'm just hit with death about it, and glad we could do it. No, this is not my speech. This is a list of pills that I still have. You worked your way up there, Jerry. You got a long way to go, buddy. Well, it's something that we have a lot of fun with, but by the same token, it takes good hard work that all of you have put into it to find the success that you've reached today, and I wish you a great deal more of it. I want to thank the Cauliflower Alley Club for their honoring, and it's humbling for me to come at this point in my career when I don't really believe that the best shot in the cannon is still there. I wish I could tell you it was, but it's been great to live through it and be with people like the King and like a lot I know of you folks do. I want to say one thing that I didn't solely want to have a career as a wrestling announcer, but I'll tell you what, in time, I was the most fortunate person in the world, because it placed me in Memphis, Tennessee, when the conditions were right and the people were right, and all of the things came into play. It was enabled to make me reach something that I never really thought that I would be able to do, because I listened to a lot of guys like JR and all, and I've just been so proud to have been one of the group that was in there. I want to say that there's the biggest thing that made a difference was the love that I picked up as a spectator to watch wrestling. I had a lot of good people that helped give me an opportunity to take advantage of it. And one last thing that I want to say before I leave, I want to think about the people, you all, who've been out there. The fans have made it what it is today, a great thing, and I just love it, and I want to thank the CAC again for the honor, and with that, I will say thank you very much.